Hi 8th graders, this is Miss Didola and I am going to walk you through how to name your sharps and flats in your key signatures and then how to tell what key it's actually in, like the key of A or the key of G. So I'm going to walk you through those pieces of information. You should find a folder that says note names and you should have already completed 1, 2, 3, and 4. 3 and 4 add the key signatures in where you have to identify the notes and name them as a sharp or a flat if they are sharped or flatted in the key signature. So we're going to review that as we walk through the key signature unit right here. So if you click on the key signature lesson, you'll get all the information in a big list. This is a PDF that you can download of the same information. And then these 3 items here are treble, bass, and alto clef versions of naming your key signatures, so practice on that. So if we go to the key signature lesson, you'll see that we talk about the order of the sharps and flats first. So the order of sharps is always F, C, G, D, A, E, B. The order being left to right as they are down here in the graphic. If you have 3 sharps, it's always going to be F, C, G. If you have 1 sharp, it will always be F sharp. So it's always listed in the same order. One good saying to memorize that is foreign cars go dead at every bump. One student of mine made up a phrase that was Frank can go down and eat beans. You know, whatever phrase helps you remember it is fine to help you memorize it. So the order of the sharps are always F, C, G, D, A, E, B. And then your sharp sign, if you're not good at memorizing that, your sharp sign will be labeled by what is in the center of the box of the sharp sign. So you'll have, on this first one, we know it's an F because the line is slicing through it. And so it's got a line in the middle and it's the top line, so that's an F. If I look at this one right here, it is on a space. It's the second space up. It's an A sharp, which is a really weird note, but that's fine. Just to give you some examples. This G here is the space that's at the top. I knew it was a G because it was that top space for bass clef. For our alto clef friends, you've got the F sharp here, the C sharp here. We know it because of the center of the box. If it's a space or a line, this guy over here, second line up, is an A sharp. This is a B sharp. So it's whatever's in the center of the box of the sharp. Flats, I want you to notice here the sharps and the flats are the exact same thing but backwards. The order is just backwards from each other. It's kind of a cool little easy system. So the order of the flats is always B, E, A, D, G, C, F. Bead greatest common factor is the dumb way that I remembered how to do my flats. So if I scroll down, we now have all these flat signs in our treble clef, bass clef, and alto clef. Now, the flat signs are labeled by what is slicing through the center of the little squashy looking B. There's the open flat there on a space. Here's the one with a line through it. So B, E, A space, D line, G line, C space, F space, etc. So same with down here, treble clef, bass clef, and alto clef. You name your notes by what is in the middle of the flat sign. So the order, again down here in yellow, the order of sharps and flats are the same, but in reverse order from each other. So when you're naming your note names, like this has 3 flats. If I had a second space A, I would have to call it A flat in this key signature. So that's how you apply the key signature to the notes. If I had a third space C, it would be just a plain C. So if I looked here in the bass clef, for a bass clef person, if I had a first line A, where my pointer is, I would have an A flat. But up here on the second space C, there's no flat for it, so it's just a plain C, natural C. Here's our alto clef. If I were on a middle line C, that would be sharp, but if I were on a top line G, that would be natural, because there's no sharp for it. So that's just a basic explanation of how to take a key signature here and match it to what is in the music. Okay, now we're going to go to how to name these key signatures. So we're naming our major key signatures. We're not worried about minor because there's a relative way to understand minor later. But we're just going to talk in major scales and major key signatures. So we have a rule for the sharp keys in green here. Go to the last sharp and name the note that's one note above the last sharp. So this horrible key signature, F, C, G, D, A, E, B, is our last sharp. So we go up one note from a B is a C, happens to be sharped in this key signature, so I have to call it the key of C sharp. That's confusing, but I will show you over here. Let's find a sharp key. All right, here's a sharp key. This has two sharps, and this top line is an F, and the second one is a C, because it's third space C. And so C is my last sharp, so I'm going to go up one note, and I get a D. So this is the key of D major. Yay, I did it. Okay, so my last sharp on this one, it's only one sharp. My last sharp is an F sharp. So I'm going to go up one note. This is the key of G. So not the sharp itself, but one note higher is the key of G. All right, there's some flats, so we'll come back to this. All right, now I've got bass clef going over here, and I have four sharps. And anybody who reads any clef can figure out what the names of the sharps are by saying foreign cars go dead at every bump. Because foreign cars go dead, there's my first four sharps. I know my last sharp is a D, and I have to go up one letter, which when I go up, I have to go forward in my alphabet, A, B, C, D, E. This is the key of E. So let's see if I'm right. Yay, I did it. Now, this has three sharps, foreign cars go. We go up one letter to the A, and we get the key of A. This is what the key of A looks like in alto clef. Foreign cars go. Okay, so A, B, C, D, E, F, G. A is my next letter up. That's the key of A. So now we're going to go back to our new information over here, and we'll talk about flats. So for flat keys, we're going to go to the second to last flat and name that flat with the note name that it's on. So if I say B-E-A-D, G-C, F, right? B-E-A-D spells the word bead, greatest common factor. I go back one to the second to last flat right here is my C flat. I had to think about that for a second. Horrible key signature again. So the key of C flat, and I say the word C flat because it is flatted right there. So most of your flat keys are going to be named with the word flat. So we're going to pause and I'll find a flat key for us to look at. Okay, so now we can look at some flat keys, and we've got three flats in this treble clef key signature. And we name them, again, B-E-A-D spells bead, greatest common factor, B-E-A. And the rule is you go to the second to last flat. So I'm going to say all my flats, but then go back one, B-E-A, back one. And now I have E flat, so it's the key of E flat. Let's see if I'm right. Yep, I'm right. We'll talk about one flat later. Here's a bass clef version with two flats. We have B-E. And we go back one flat, and we get the key of B flat. Bam, got it right. So now we have four flats in alto clef. But again, it's the same order as any clef. B-E-A-D spells bead. And I just go back one flat. So B-E-A was this one right here. So my A flat is the name of the key signature. It's A flat major. So now I'm going to go back and we're going to talk about the two that you have to memorize. The key of C has no sharps and no flats. So you just have to memorize that. And then the key of F has one flat. Those are the two you have to memorize. The rest of them are the system. So key of F, one flat. Key of C, no sharps, no flats. The flat names, you go to the second to last flat that you name, and that's what you name it. And the sharp keys, you go to the very last flat, go up one, and you name it. All right. Good luck getting your assignment done, and try to aim for 80% or better for a final test for yourself to be ready for the quiz. Thanks, bye.